Alright, hey guys, and welcome back to another video. So I wanted to start a series back up talking about the games I've been playing. Yeah, I buy a lot of games for my collection, but I also play a ton of games on a weekly basis. So I figured, why not talk about them? Let you guys know what I'm playing, what I recommend, what I don't recommend, what I've beat, what I'm in the process of trying to beat, and pick a few games for every video and kind of just talk about them a little bit more at length. I'm going to gauge, depending on the reception of this video here, how often I should do them. Once a week, once a month, twice a month, I don't know. Let me guys know after you're done watching the video what you think, and I'll kind of gauge your interest from there, and we'll see how it goes. But I figured I'd pick out a few games for the first video here. I'm not going to talk about everything, like I mentioned, but let's talk about one of the games that's been really grabbing my attention as of late, and that is Super Bomberman R Online. So a lot of you might say, wait, didn't this game launch with the Switch? Not exactly. So this actually took me by surprise as well. I wasn't keeping up with this game. Yes, Super Bomberman R was a game that launched with the Switch, but apparently there was a Stadia exclusive version of this game that is a 64-player Battle Royale online game, and that is what this is. They've recently ported it to the PC, to the Xbox, to the PS4, and the Switch, and it's a completely different game than it was on the Switch. This actually blew me away. So after they ported it to the Stadia, it's cross-platform. All the platforms play together, which creates problems of its own, which I'm going to get into. But at its core, this is a massive online multiplayer version of Bomberman. I've been having so much fun with this. It's very challenging. I've only won a couple of games in the few nights that I've played it. But basically what this is, you're probably seeing the gameplay here and you're like, wait a minute, is that Richter? Yes, this game has characters, ability characters from a bunch of Konami games. So you got Castlevania characters in there, you got Contra characters in there, you got Silent Hill characters in there, you got pop and music characters in there, and all of them have different abilities. Like Richter can grab people with his whip and hold them in place. That's how I got my first victory in this game. You also have Silent Hill characters like Pyramid Head that can one-shot other characters, but they have like detriments to their stats. So all these different characters are balanced really well with stats that they can achieve at maximum and not achieve at maximum, and certain abilities that are locked out to try and balance between normal Bomberman characters and ability characters. So you can play as the normal Bomberman characters, but they start off with poor stats and you work your way up to better stats since they don't have an ability. But like White Bomberman, for example, he can reach maximum stats in this game and all abilities, while other characters can't because he starts with poor stats. So they do a great job of balancing this, and you pretty much just kill other players and try and be the last Bomberman standing. And the way they do this is really crafty. There's a whole bunch of different arenas, and you start in one, and once the timer counts down, you have to move to another one, and they close off arenas as time goes on. And if you look at the gameplay here, you can kind of get a sense for that. They close off arenas as time goes on, and eventually the last remaining players will converge into the final arena, and then the winner is crowned there. It has some major issues, though, I should note, since they've made this cross-platform. There's major load times, upwards of 3 to 4+ minutes at a time. It's one of the main reasons I don't play this more. It's because, well, the loading is just abysmal. Otherwise, I'd be playing it a bunch. It is free to play, keep that in mind. So there are currency that you can use. They make you spend $10 to unlock all the ability characters, which I did do because I felt like I got $10 of enjoyment out of this game for sure. But outside of some lag problems and the loading, I mean, this is a super solid Bomberman game, and if you're a fan of Bomberman, you need to check this out. It is a bit intimidating because, normally in an online Bomberman game, or any Bomberman game for that matter, you can usually keep track of what characters have what ability. Hey, this person has bomb kick, this person has bomb throw, this person has bomb toss, this person has max fire. But in this, because you're constantly playing and matching up with different players as the game goes on, it gets really hard to keep track of who has what. So even the most seasoned Bomberman players are going to have trouble with this one keeping track. But that is also another thing. If you've never played Bomberman before, or you're not very good at Bomberman, you might find this very intimidating because you will be matched up with people that are very good at this game. I used to play a lot of Bomberman Live on Xbox Live Arcade, and I was pretty good at that. However, man, let me tell you, it's been a little rough for me trying to transition into this one after many years off from playing Bomberman. I considered myself pretty good, but boy, let me tell you, I'm nothing compared against some of the better players in this game. So definitely check it out. That's definitely one of the highlights that I've played this week. Like I said, free to play, very approachable. You can have some fun with it. Oh, and by the way, they have private matchmaking lobbies, so you can actually pair up with up to 64 friends in a private lobby. I know that sounds crazy, which does eliminate a lot of the loading issues. And it works seamlessly. Like the online matchmaking for this is fantastic, but if you've got a competitive edge like me, you're going to be sitting around waiting a lot through the lobby waiting and the loading times. All right, let's jump into the next game. Next game we're going to be talking about is The Mean Green's Plastic Warfare. Here's another game that's apparently been out for quite a while on PC, and sometime last year it got ported to the PlayStation 4, which is the version that caught my attention because I was looking through the indie game sale and I noticed this was on sale for $1. I watched the trailer and I was like, what? This looks amazing. So at its core, this is an online competitive Army Men game, right? You could see the gameplay here. This is straight up an Army Man game. However, the catch is it's online only. There's no single player campaign or anything like that. It's just a tutorial to introduce you into the game. But I put out the call to my community, and we had a really fun night playing this for like 6 hours or so, and did a private matchmaking lobby the whole time, and we had so much fun. As you can see here in the gameplay, it does a really good job of capturing that Army Men feel in the level design. It's got really bright, colorful, so many different level scenarios. You know, you have ones that you're in like a toy box, and as you can see here, you're in a bathtub with rubber duckies with a giant octopus in the middle, capturing flags and bringing them back to your base. One level, you're in like a Jurassic Park area playing as raptors with like really cheesy knockoff Jurassic Park music in the background. You've got a foosball table where you're trying to get a soccer ball into the goals. You have all kinds of really fun, creative, and inventive game modes in this. There are 15 different maps, all of which have different modes that you can play on in terms of capture the flag, team deathmatch, free-for-all. Let me tell you, I was blown away by the amount of content in this game and how different and varied the maps were. The production value in this, the level designs, kept wowing me the entire time, right? Like, man, this game came out apparently a week after Fall Guys, and I think it was kind of, or a week before Fall Guys, I think it was. I think they were overshadowed by Fall Guys, because how did this game not catch on? I don't know. I have almost no complaints with this game, and every time I had a complaint, I'm like, oh, I wish I can remap my controls this way, or oh, I wish I could disable the taunt because I keep activating it by mistake. Those options are all in there. I struggled to find a problem with this game. It's that good. I mean, if you have friends and you have you want to play the PC version, I'm sure it's still alive and kicking. The PS4 version, the servers seem to struggle a little bit with finding enough players, but if you can get a bunch of friends together and play this on PSN, go for it. If you can play the PC version and you're willing to go up against people that may have been playing this game for a few years, go for it. It's a little limited in its gameplay. There's only a few different weapons. You got a flamethrower, bazooka, machine gun, shotgun. I think that's everything. But yeah, it's a little limited in that regard. But the amount of maps, how much fun it is to just kind of explore these areas for the first time. It plays very similar to like SOCOM. Players die very quickly, very easily. It's definitely a skill-based game. You can definitely have a lot of fun with teamwork in this game, working together with your teammates, because there's a lot of team cooperative type games. The movement is quite fast, so some people might be intimidated by the run speed in this. It can be a little hard to aim, a little difficult for players that may not play a lot of third-person shooters. Like, I'm a little rusty on those, and it can be a little hard to aim, but there's tons of customization options in terms of adjusting your sensitivity. Every sensitivity option you can think of, you can adjust it in this game. So it's got a great user interface and customizability to it. The music also, every level is themed with music that fits that area. I mean, it's the full package. I haven't played a third-person shooter this good in quite a long time. And if you're into this genre, there's no way you're going to be disappointed with this, okay? So this gets my highest recommendation. I got it on sale for $1. It's currently, as of making this video, still on sale for $1, and it's normally $9.99. All right, let's move on to the next game. This one I don't have quite as much praise for, and that is Armikrog. I played the PlayStation 4 version. This is a game that I almost backed on Kickstarter back in the day. This is from the original developer of Earthworm Jim and The Neverhood and Skull Monkeys, if the claymation style is looking kind of familiar to you. So this is a point-and-click adventure game that was pretty successful on Kickstarter, but afterwards the reception was not the greatest. I never really looked into why that was, but after playing it, I found out why. So, visually, this game is handmade, handcrafted with clay and stop-motion animation, and as you can see here, it looks pretty amazing. The soundtrack is also unlike anything I've heard before, outside of Skull Monkeys and Neverhood, obviously. By the way, I still have yet to play Neverhood, but after playing this, I look forward to playing Neverhood because I'm assuming it's going to be a much better game. The thing that was the biggest complaint for me with Armikrog is the puzzles were just downright bad, boring, repetitive. They reuse puzzles nonstop, so you're playing like the same puzzle 3 times. They do that multiple times where you do a sliding puzzle, you're doing that sliding puzzle 3 times. You do a really annoying puzzle with like some baby's toy thing, and they have you doing that 3 times, progressively getting more and more annoying and more difficult. The exploration and the puzzles in general were just not really doing it for me. I never really had much fun solving a puzzle in this game. And yeah, I don't play a lot of adventure games, and the thing that kept me going forward with this were just the amazing presentation and the music. I just wanted to keep seeing more areas, what they can do with the cutscenes, which there are not many. The story is pretty much non-existent for the most part of the game. And yeah, it kind of missed the mark for me, I'm not going to lie. It was a little disappointing. I did finish it though, which by the way, I'll probably be uploading my full playthrough of this, so if you're curious to see me go through this blind, not knowing what to expect for the first time, go to my second gameplay channel. I'll have a link in the description of this video, and I'll be uploading it there so you can watch the full thing. It took me about 6.5 hours to get through. I did struggle a lot. I also don't recommend you watch that video if you're a big fan of this game, because you're probably not going to be a fan of some of my criticisms, but I think I gave it a fair shake. I did complete it, and I did enjoy a lot of things, but I also disliked a lot of things. I do still recommend this game to fans of the adventure genre. You probably can get through it a lot easier than me if you're a seasoned veteran in this series, but if you think it looks cool, I think you should still play it. Make sure you play the PC version, though. The controls on the console version can be a little annoying, to say the least. So play the PC version. I still recommend it. It can be completed in as little as 3 hours if you know what you're doing. But I mean, you can see here from this gameplay, the environments can be really bland at times. Yeah, everything's handcrafted, but sometimes the backgrounds are just really bland and boring, and there's not much going on. You can tell it was budgetary constraints. There's a lot of areas in the game that look phenomenal, and then you get to the next area, and it's just a boring box of clay, essentially. So that's Armikrog. Alright, and lastly, I wanted to talk about a game that I'm cheating a little bit here. I played this one about 2 weeks ago, so not within the past week. It was about 2 weeks ago. Also, I have a full playthrough of this on my second gameplay channel if you wanted to check it out to kind of go along with a much more broader look at this game. I have the full playthrough on my gameplay channel, PeteDorr Plays, if you wanted to check that out. So Shadow of the Beast 2016, this is the remake that I think a lot of people forgot even existed, and nobody talks about, and maybe for good reason. So here's the thing, I bought this game the day it came out back in 2016. I beat it, I think. My memory is very kind of foggy on this game, and I couldn't really remember what I liked and disliked about it completely, so not long ago I played it again. I played the first level, and I'm like, okay, this seems like something maybe I want to give another chance to. So I came back a few days later, and I gave it another shot. I played it again, because sometimes if I've played a game before and I want to give it a second chance if I didn't feel like I was that into it the first time. And that's what I did with Shadow of the Beast 2016, and I think my feelings are still the same. So here's the thing. The game is essentially a beat 'em up. It's not the Shadow of Beast of old. They try to allude to it in the first level, making you be like, wow, this might actually be kind of relevant to the original game. It's not. It's a timing-based, almost quick-time event style beat 'em up where all you're doing 95% of the game is just going back and forth and timing your attacks to beat enemies in these endless arena fights. As you can see here, all you do is you just attack left, you attack right, you activate a special, you do a quick time event, keep attacking left and right for as long as you can to try and survive as long as you can, and occasionally they throw in some really terrible platforming sections and uneventful boss fights that are somewhat disappointing, and that's essentially this game in a nutshell. The environment sometimes can look beautiful, I have to admit. Sometimes it's pretty awesome to look at this game. The music, they have two different soundtracks. They have the one that is remade for this game, which I flat out think 90% of it is terrible and uninspired and just boring. It's way too atmospheric, it's way too empty. You can unlock the original soundtrack, which I did, and I did 90% of this playthrough with the original soundtrack, which worked okay enough, but the thing is, some of these levels you can be in them for 20, 30 minutes and the music just stops kind of feeling like it's fitting with the environment after a while, especially during boss fights when the music doesn't change. So yeah, music is a big problem with this game. The gameplay, actually, for what this game sets out to do, is actually okay. If you approach this as a timing-based quick-time event beat-em-up, it's not terrible. The animations can be pretty satisfying. The sound effects and the way that you just kind of slaughter enemies in your path can be a lot of fun. However, if you're comparing this to being some kind of relevant Shadow of the Beast game, I think you're going to be very disappointed in this. They try to allude to different points of the original game by throwing in a couple of enemies that kind of fit within the original enemy designs and level designs, but boy does it miss the mark. And I remember being really excited for this game when it was first announced, and boy did they drop the ball on this one. I wasn't feeling it. Like I said, if you want to check out the full gameplay that I did of this, my full playthrough with commentary and whatnot, it's on my second channel, if you were so inclined. Do I recommend it? I still recommend it if you can get it on sale for a few dollars, but don't spend more than $4.99 on that one. Anyway, that's going to do it. I just wanted to give a quick honorable mention to Biomutant. I was in the middle of starting my Biomutant playthrough, but then I found out that they were patching the game, but it hadn't arrived on consoles yet, and it just did, so I do plan on getting back to playing Biomutant. I was having fun with that one, did have a lot of problems, but I was also enjoying a lot of aspects about the open world and the way that combat works in Biomutant, so I just wanted to give a quick shout out to that one. But I didn't feel like I needed to talk about it at length until I play the patched version, which will hopefully be soon. Also, Final Fantasy VII Intergrade or Intermission comes out today, actually, and Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart comes out tomorrow, so I'm going to have a lot to talk about in the next episode of games I played recently. Anyway, it's going to do it for me. Be sure to leave a like, leave a comment, let me guys know what you think of this series, and I'll try and work out how often I'm going to release these videos in the future. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.